You're live. It's going to work this week, folks.
Yay, it should work. No, not yet. No.
Yeah, go ahead. Put them on. We'll sit here for a second.
Oh,
You live, Mike? You live?
It's go.
Now we're not. He touched it one time too many.
All right, we're good. Live? Yep, we're live.
We're alive.
Give it a
But
couple
it's not
seconds for
7.
everybody to join
We're
us.
going to give a few more seconds so the latecomers can get on. Sometimes
Thank
we're the
God.
latecomers. Like last week, we never got on. Not on YouTube
We
anyway.
had the spinning wheel of death.
Okay, 7 o'clock. Bing, bing, bing.
7 o'clock already.
Let's get to work.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the tavern. He's Jack. I'm Dennis. As usual, your host for the show.
Yeehaw.
Please stand for our pledge of allegiance. Ooh, got flags all over this place.
There we go.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we're going to get into the FBI.
I think my head got chopped off doing the pledge. I don't think you're on. Are you in there?
I'm in there.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, we're talking about the FBI tonight, and we'll also get into some human trafficking. So we'll let Jack start off with his thoughts on the FBI. The
Well, I'm gonna
KGB.
I'm going to talk about the KGB, and I'm going to talk about where we're at today in this country. And then later on, I'm going to talk about the importance of this midterm election. So I got this information from Bill O'Reilly.
He's still around.
He's still around. I like him.
I like his books.
His books are great. He's
Books
a
are
true
awesome.
historian, and he's
The reason he reads.
yeah, he's a true fact finder as best as he can. So if there's a fact that he puts the old-fashioned gumshoe work into a certain topic, and he tries to cover it as best as he can. That being said, there's a lot of questions and answers that he can't get because he's not privy to it. But anyway, he's talking about the KGB, and he was talking bad about Christopher Wray, which he should. We say it often. We don't think he should be getting paid because he's appointed by the president, and he has a 10-year term, and he works the pleasure of the president. So when the president gets tired of him, before his term's up, he's the only one that can fire him. But Congress doesn't have to pay him. Again, you should be asking your incumbents that are running for office and people that are running as new candidates, if they get in there, would they like to try and push bills in there, or not bills, but votes to not pay these animals?
Clowns, tyrants.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call them.
So the first thing,
Trump appointed him.
yeah, he did. That was, and here's the problem with the FBI. If you're going to get a director that's going to direct the FBI, definitely should not be somebody that worked in the Attorney General's office. It should be an FBI guy.
Yep.
There's no way it should be somebody that has loyalties to the Attorney General and not to the people of the United States and law enforcement. So, first mistake that this guy made was on May 2nd. May 2nd of this year. The leak from the Supreme Court on the abortion ruling. All right? So that was May 2nd. June, July, August, September. 4 months. The FBI still doesn't know who did the leaking. Is that possible? Is that possible that the FBI doesn't know who leaked that out of the Supreme Court?
Not very good detective work.
Right?
They're not really detectives.
No. They had another problem. Durham started a special prosecution into the Russian hoax 3 years ago. Nothing. So what are we paying this guy for? What is Christopher Wray doing with this? Now, if Durham doesn't want to do it, then don't do it. If you don't have any information,
Just say I don't have anything.
I don't got anything.
Go on to the next.
What are we paying you and your staff? 3 years.
Couple of one indictment.
3 years, and it doesn't look like that's going to stick.
Yeah.
That indictment does not look like it's going to stick, folks, of that attorney. All right? And here's the problem with trying to indict an attorney. Attorneys do not care about integrity. That's why everybody hates them. And if you're an attorney out there and listening to this show and I offend you,
Good.
too bad.
They're just as low as those used car salesmen.
I have more respect for a used car salesman. That man has to produce $1. They have to get product. They have to satisfy a customer. Sometimes good, sometimes not. But they hustle. Attorneys don't hustle. So to get an indictment on a fellow attorney, I heard one attorney say, well, I'm not accountable. You're not accountable? You're an animal that doesn't care about integrity in your industry.
Kind of like their politicians.
Right. Because they secretly, every attorney wants to be a politician. And so they're not going to get this guy indicted on any, they're not going to find him guilty. They indicted him, but he's not going to be found guilty because there's not an attorney on the planet that's going to do the right thing. They're just not going to do the right thing. The last guy I saw that might have done this as an attorney, but it's still questionable because even under his watch in the Southern District of New York, he never did go after a dirty attorney, was Giuliani. Mm-hmm. So he may not have even done it either. I don't know what you guys, when it's a cop, but bad apples, we got to get rid of them. But when it's Washington, D.C., 98% of them are not dirty apples.
Of course, the other way.
Yeah. And when it's attorneys, I'm not accountable. I don't eat my own kind. You don't. Well, you're a jerk off.
Those are your living.
Yeah. I heard another saying from a person saying, that old saying, you have a lawyer that's worth his weight in gold. It's only true if he's made out of gold.
Right.
So the other thing we have, 3 major things that Christopher Wray should have took care of the minute he got into office to try and get rid of the stink from the guy before him. What was his name?
What's his name? Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Think about it. Margaret's definitely going to want to know that. Anyway, Hunter Biden.
You got to do your own research. You want something like that.
Yeah.
You try to get people to research everything.
Yeah. Hunter Biden's case was opened 3 years ago also. Almost to the date of
Trump crap.
Yeah. Durham's case. At 3 years, nothing. So here's the little trick that people don't know about with what's going on with Hunter Biden. Now, Hunter Biden's case actually had a jury, a sitting jury. They appointed a jury to this case. All right? So how long? So it's been a little over. It's been 3 years and 4 months since Hunter Biden's case was opened. I don't know how long the jury got placed there. But does anybody have a wild guess on how long a jury is allowed to sit on one case?
How long?
3 years.
Wow.
3 years. So either there's an indictment against Hunter that we don't know about, and this grand jury said, "Yeah, we're going to indict him on the information we have," or this jury's just been watching TV in a hotel for 3 years, not seeing their family or whatever. But like I said, I don't think the minute they opened the case, they had a grand jury sitting there. So I'm assuming that the 3rd year of this grand jury sitting is about to be up, and then that case is going to be gone.
They know what they're doing.
So
and they can't go after him again? Once it's over, that's it?
no, they can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the only time if he's proven innocent, then they can.
Right.
Yeah, but will they? Again,
Well, yeah.
I'm going to go into this. I'm going to go into this later. But I am no longer. I don't think Dennis should either. But that's up to him. I'm not going to differentiate from the parties anymore.
You can't.
No,
I'm not going to talk about
I've been
this.
saying this for a long time.
Yeah.
There's no difference between the parties. They're all in bed together
for themselves.
Yeah.
That's all they care about is what's in it for them.
Right.
Doesn't matter if they're tyrants, every one of them.
So, yeah, the Socialist Party and the Jellyfish Party are the same to me. And if you don't know who the Socialist Party is, they're the ones that go under the hammer and sickle flag or the elephant. And the other one goes under the donkey. No, they're the elephants. And the other ones are the donkey. So
Be a hawk.
Yeah.
in a land of donkeys and elephants.
Yeah. So I'm not going to distinguish from them. So with all this inability to move along with any of these cases, big cases, they have the KGB and Christopher Wray decides to move on. And they do the Mar-a-Lago raid. Go ahead, Mike.
Margaret, Hunter Biden is so dirty, I can't see how anyone could clear him innocent. This is the life we live in today.
When your daddy's president, they
Yeah.
do whatever they want.
Yep.
That's how corrupt they are.
So anyway, like I was saying, so Christopher Wray can't get shit going on any of these. Every one of these 3 cases that I just said is all over the news. So he decides to throw some more shit on the plate and go into Mar-a-Lago. And you're not going to tell me that this wasn't illegally leaked, that they were going to do this search warrant, and I have proof for it, that they leaked it, because we saw it on the news.
Yeah.
There they were in the middle of the night with the cameras.
And they've done this before.
Yeah, they
where
did it with
CNN was there before the law enforcement.
yeah. They did that with that guy from Trump's thing.
Something.
No, Oliver or something. I forget his name is.
Michael.
So now that they did this raid in Mar-a-Lago, I'm watching very carefully because we just talked about these 3 major cases that are stuck in the mud, not moving. And we're not even talking about the case against Hillary Clinton because that was the other director. Let's see how fast it goes. Let's see how fast they move along. Right? I mean, the only thing that might slow it down is that there was one judge there that had a little bit of balls, and she said, I'm putting an independent, I forget what it's called.
Special master.
Yeah, special master in this. And now you guys are no longer allowed to look at any of these paperwork. Ha, 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 ha. Because the Supreme Court also told this administration that they had to close that border down and they weren't allowed. And they said, yeah, talk to my ass, my head hurts. So I'm going to continue to let these people in.
They should be, every one of these politicians, including the president on down, should be thrown in jail for violating the Constitution day after day.
So what I want to do next is I want to look at America today. And the reason why I want to look at America today, because in less than 60 days, we have the first election of the next 6 years that we, the constituents, can change government. Through the ballot with no bullets. All right? So I think I'm going to let Dennis go first because it's a little lengthy, and I'm going to let Dennis get some stuff off his chest. But I'm going to go back, and I'm going to talk to you guys about, you guys know where America's at, but I'm just going to go forward to it. I have another little tidbit with what's going on with this country, and also another little group that's with the leaders of this country, progressives side, and you should know about, and we'll look at that because it goes side by side against the constituents that are trying to get that Article 5 state convention going, which I would like to talk about that on another time because it's very, very important. I mean, I know we did a show on that Article 5 state convention, but it's dangerous to do, number one, because who's running it?
That's right. Who's running it? Who are they going to put in there?
Yeah, number 2, who's going to decide? I mean, I know their selling pitch is term limits. You know, everybody wants term limits, but there's other things that need to be documented and put in there. If you're going to do a state, you know, an Article 5 state convention,
It can't be just term limits.
right, we got to clean things up. But that being said, this other little tidbit that I'm going to talk about later is definitely going to interject on this and try and turn their states against. So you got to understand, once you do a state convention, Article 5 state convention, the entire Constitution is open. They can change everything.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And we all know our country is going down the
This
drain
might not be
quick.
the best time to do that.
Well, here's the problem, Mike. They are supposed to get a state convention done in this format. They get a certain amount of states.
2/3.
Right. What's that? 34?
34.
34 states to agree that their state legislators, upper and lower houses, vote yes, we want to do that. And then they're supposed to send a specific list of what they want to go through. Unfortunately, the first Constitutional Convention, they did the same thing. They changed the whole government.
Yep.
And there was only 2 states that said, we're sending you down there to change this government. We don't want to just change the papers of the Confederates. So we'll talk about that, and I'll give you this little piece that will show you the difference of that. Go ahead.
What do you got, Mike?
Robert says, "Oh boy, that's very dangerous."
Yeah, it
Sure
is. This state convention that people are on a fever pitch. Careful what you wish for.
We definitely need term limits. That's part of our party that we're starting.
And I tell you the truth, nobody in this room agrees with me, but I am guaranteeing you, when they get to 33 and a half, even maybe 34, those animals in Congress are going to put in a certain type of term limits and get rid of that, because they have a certain time frame that they have to present it to Congress, and then Congress has to give them a certain time frame when they can conduct this convention.
Right.
And so if what's on that, if they hand them, this is our list, this is what we want to do, and Congress goes and takes care of it themselves, they can send it back out to the states and do it themselves.
Yeah, can't Congress vote on this on their own without having to go through
They
this?
can.
Well, but they still have to go to the states.
Yeah.
The states still have to vote on it.
And you think there'll be a problem with that if they did it that way?
You never know.
Well, I don't think they're going to do it the way we want it. It's going to be another kind.
They
It's
wanna
going to be
make sure
100
they're
years.
They want to make sure they're in control.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not going to say, all right, after like what we say, 12 years, you're out.
Yeah.
So that's 2 terms as a Senate. That's 6
That's
terms.
combined between Congress and
If you're a congressman and you want to go to the Senate, whatever, you got 12 years of federal government.
Right.
Between the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
So we all have our own version of what human trafficking is. And, I had a very active week on Facebook this week. A couple people, they want to know what's going on with human trafficking. This is just scratching the surface. Basically, human trafficking is this. Human trafficking is the business of stealing freedom for profit, stealing your freedom. In some cases, traffickers trick, defraud, or physically force victims into providing commercial sex. That's number one. In others, victims are lied to, assaulted, threatened, manipulated into working under inhumane, illegal, or otherwise unacceptable conditions. It's a multi-billion-dollar criminal industry that denies freedom to millions of people in the world. So the U.S. law defines human trafficking as the use of force, fraud, or coercion to compel a person into commercial sex acts of labor or services against his or her will. This is including children, right? That is what human trafficking is. It's a huge problem, not only here in the United States, but all across the world, but mostly coming from Mexico.
And it's not just the sex trade either. It's labor.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
The Chinese, they've been illegal. I mean,
Forever.
those
It's
sweat
all around the world.
factories.
It's all around the world.
Mhm.
Mexican drug cartels are only in the drug business anymore. They're in the fuel business and the human trafficking industry. There's 2 types of human trafficking that they deal with: labor and sex trafficking.
You know what else they're in? A lot of people don't know.
Gangs.
No, prescriptions.
Huh.
How many senior citizens go down to Mexico and buy
That's
prescriptions
right.
because it's cheaper down there?
Anyone can be forced to be a victim. Man, woman, children of any age, any race, in good health or bad health, it don't matter. But unfortunately, most of it's children because they're easily manipulated. And I found some statistics, and if you look up 70 plus unimaginable human trafficking statistics in the United States, so over 40 million people become victims around the world. 71% is either a woman or a girl. 15.4 million victims are forced into marriage. These numbers were in September of 21, so they may be a little bit higher now. It's almost the fifth. Yeah, it's a year later.
And these are the ones they know of.
So I want to pick out Texas and show you how big it is there, because Texas is on the border with Mexico. So 313,000 victims of human trafficking in Texas. Right in Texas, it's a $6 billion operation. 20% of all crimes of trafficking to the U.S. travel through Texas because they're corridor, because of their highways. It's a huge business and it's extremely hard to stop. So I reference Texas for one reason, because of Mexico and the problems we have down there. and this was a huge number I couldn't believe, 70% of human trafficking into this country comes through Mexico. That is crazy. Our law enforcement agencies, such as Customs and Border Patrol and immigration officers, cannot properly do their jobs now, thanks to the open borders of this Biden administration. How can they focus on human trafficking when thousands of migrants enter through Texas? They can't, folks. Can you see why this is a huge problem?
There's a family in Texas that has a ranch just on their property alone. Now it looks like a landfill, their property, because they cross the river, they get out of their wet clothes and get into their dry clothes, and they wait for one of these buses in Texas to pick them up. 1,800 crossed their property in 1 month.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, these traffickers from Mexico.
They find dead bodies too.
Oh yeah, they found lots of them. So these traffickers from Mexico know that this administration has turned a blind eye to this pandemic. They realize the chances of being caught are minimal and being prosecuted even less. So they have no fear. Hey, when you're making billions of dollars, why have any fear, you know? So this administration and their failure to secure our borders, it shows the failed immigration policies which fuels the human traffic pandemic across the United States. So I'm going to use Horry County, South Carolina, where we live.
It used to be number one in the country.
It's
Is it still?
top 3. It's Horry County, Myrtle Beach. It's a human trafficking hotspot. The Horry County Police Department has a regional task force designed to combat this trafficking issue. We all know police department staffing issues today, but are they really having a major impact in human trafficking? I don't think they are. You know,
Well, I blame it on their
because they're so
leadership.
short-handed. Yeah, right. Blame it on the leadership. Blame it on our politicians for all the rhetoric they caused over the last 3 years with the defund the police and being prejudiced and they're racist. They're not.
You gotta wonder if they have their finger in it.
Brenda Bethune had our law enforcement literally march with Black Lives Matters
Yep. Their chief
in Myrtle Beach.
walked with them.
Yeah.
You know, they can't
She kneeled
fully-
with them.
Yeah. They can't fully staff a team that is necessary to combat this important health and safety problem. When I did the research on this, really, I did not see tons of arrests. There were some, and a few, but not where it should be. I mean, there's a few reasons for this one. Victims are not reporting this to the police. We all know this profession isn't respected anymore, the police profession.
Yeah.
And that's thanks to our politicians, our leaders in Washington, and misinformation regarding the police in general. No one wants to be a police officer anymore. The pay sucks, and most leadership today, they play Monday morning quarterback. They question every move you make on your shift.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to have any bad apples in law enforcement.
You know, used to be an officer discretion. They're trying to take discretion away from their officers. So most are staying away from this profession because it just doesn't work anymore. Until you get rid of the leaders they have and start going with the rule of law, things will never change. There is a hotline, but most people won't call that. They believe the system is rigged against the victim.
Really?
Sometimes.
I can't believe that they would think that this government has a rigged system.
I was surprised though. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster said he's honored to proclaim the month of January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month. He's honored to proclaim human trafficking as traffic awareness.
You
Human
think they
Trafficking
might
Awareness
be
Month
getting
in
kickbacks,
January.
these politicians?
No, what I think the problem is, Mike, is our friends from the judiciary. I don't think lawyers make money on these cases, so they're not going to prosecute them.
Yeah.
Wow.
How the hell can you be honored with that?
40 million, that's a lot.
How the hell can you be honored with that? I just decided to make January and everybody went along with it, and I'm honored. You know what? You need to do more because you're not doing
How
enough.
about catch 'em?
Yeah, how about it's catch the human trafficker month, January?
Yeah. We should be every day.
Yeah.
If it's just border security, you have more time to travel. Focus on that.
Yeah.
You know, people demand action, and we're being failed again. Not only by our federal government, by our state government as well.
Yeah.
We see it every day.
Well, we're running for state office in 2 years.
Yep. In 2019, he did sign the Children's Internet Safety Governor's Pledge. Tried to access that page, nothing found.
Wow.
I know I didn't get a chance to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and some politicians he was associated with or said to be associated with.
Yeah, that's a hard topic to get into because we don't have any resources.
If we had more resources, we be able to do more. I'm just hitting the surface with this, folks. I didn't get into the big numbers. I didn't get into the big players. But you need to find out the human trafficking numbers in your state and let us know. We'll mention it on the show.
El Chapo is in prison right now, and one of the biggest drug and human traffickers is 2 kids.
It's unbelievable. So do the research. Find out how bad it is in your state. Again, this is just a short introduction to show you how big its illegal operation is. It's $1 billion over, I think, like $15-20 billion industry. Again, this is a topic that this week I had a lot of conversations back and forth with people, and they wanted some information. He said, Jack and I don't have a lot of resources. It's just him and I. And
Google.
You
know how good they are.
So we appreciate all the feedback on Facebook. So keep going with it.
Those are some good questions.
Thanks. Yeah, a lot of good responses. I talked to some right side. I talked to liberals. And most of the time we've had a good conversation back and forth. That was very respectful. We could meet. Some of them on the left side. And some on the right side.
Well, like you said,
They're terrible.
They're all the same.
They're terrible. But for the people who debated and had their expressions, I appreciate every one of you. Debate anytime. We can still be friends afterwards.
On certain topics, you guys are probably, preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I'm sure both sides of the aisle agree with this on a constituents level.
It all comes down to police manpower again. I mean, they don't have enough federal police, don't have enough state police, don't have enough county police, don't have enough local police.
Got plenty of IRS.
Well, yeah, we got plenty of IRS.
We got plenty of IRS, and the FBI is busy locking up anybody that knows Trump. So if you know Trump, don't admit it.
You should get involved in your local community, in your council meetings. Listen, one person attending a local meeting, bringing up this topic, you won't accomplish anything. They'll shut you down any way they can. You need to bring dozens of people with you.
And then you can be part of the terrorist watch group.
Especially if you're a parent.
Yeah.
We need to unite under one banner and stand together as one united voice. And that's the purpose of our independent constitutional party. It's a place where people that are afraid to go out there and express themselves can come under one place and tell us what's wrong. We can help you. You can help us. And meantime, we help you, you help us. We'll get there. We'll get there together. And that's the independent constitutional party. Building that grassroots organization to stand up to the people that are talkers and that do nothing groups, aka these tyrants in Washington, these tyrants in state government, these tyrants in local government. We want politicians in there that'll make decisions to combat human trafficking and the huge problem it is in this country. The blame game between parties must stop. And we, you, me, Jack, Junior, Mike, Margaret, we're the only ones who have the backbone to get things done. So you have to get involved. Again, it all starts with you. But join the ICP today and help be the difference in your community. If any listeners out there want to add something of value you think is important, please do so. Like I said, we can debate, not get offended. We can talk to each other. And hey, you got your opinions, we got our opinions. And that's what makes America great. Before we go on next Thursday, we're going to have a independent candidate for Congressional House in Tennessee District 81, Mr. Saul. He's going to be on 7 o'clock. So if you live in Tennessee, you have any questions that you'd like to ask in that district, please let us know. And we'll ask a couple questions from you guys.
Yeah, we'll have Margaret try and post it on a lot of different sites in Tennessee this week so that you hear this and you can get your questions together and email him over here, and we'll ask him. You know, we don't want to blindside the guy. You know, so we have some questions, and you know, we want to know what kind of subjects he wants to talk about too. And if one of you folks from Tennessee want to ask him a question, we'll let him know. This is a question from somebody that lives in District 81. And
or any place in Texas.
and Tennessee. Anywhere in Tennessee. You know, listen, these are the issues of Tennessee. I don't know. I don't live there. You know, I visit. I go to Gatlinburg, like it there. Nice, people friendly.
So we don't know if there's like a big human trafficking there,
What's the drug problem there?
the drug problem there. But I hear in Memphis is really bad.
You know, what the
I mean,
public schools are like.
so he'll be on next Thursday with us, Mr. Sowell. We appreciate him for reaching out to us, and hopefully we'll do a good show for you guys.
Yeah, I had a talk with him. He's a veteran, and he seems like a pretty straightforward guy.
I forgot to ask him if he's a combat veteran.
I don't know. I didn't ask
I
him.
gotta ask him.
But hey, he's a veteran, and he's a straight talker. So you know, to me, he was anyway. So
Well, he seems to have like good ideas from both sides of the aisle.
yeah,
Right down where it should be. So, like I said, should be an interesting topic, conversation. So tune in next Thursday at 7:00.
yeah. But this week's not done yet. Right?
No, we got like,
We got like an hour and a half left.
yeah, we're good. Don't tell Junior that.
I don't have any.
Yeah,
I
so
don't have a bedtime tonight. So
that's Junior.
yeah,
That's Junior.
Junior runs a tight ship here. I'm up.
You're up.
Okay, so this is my next thing, and I'll tell you why. I do this every now and then, but there's a specific reason why I'm doing it today, and that's let's take a look at America. Let's take a look at our country from the month of January 2020 until now.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's not even 24 months.
Well, it feels like a long time.
Yeah. So when this administration came into office, it had the White House, the Senate, and representatives. They had both sides of the House and the White House. So this is all on them. Well, it's on all of them because the other party voted, like we said last week, and gave them a $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill through, and I don't know. I still got a lot of potholes.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything change.
Not one thing. I haven't seen nothing.
You got pork for their districts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, West Virginia senator got maybe we might let you have a pipeline go through there. I mean, I don't know how high they got him at that dinner party to say, yeah, okay, I believe you're going to give me an opportunity. There's no opportunity. West Virginia, you're done. So when Manchin's time is up, I think you should get rid of that man. But that's your state. Unfortunately, places like New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, California, Washington, Oregon,
Every state.
Illinois, you guys vote these people in that affect all of us, and they're maniacs. Well, we did too. I mean, we got Lindsey Graham. He's not much better. Talk about wishy-washy king. So, January, when immediately this government of ours, because I'm just going to generalize. Listen, all of this comes straight out of D.C. So they open up the borders instantaneously.
The next day after he took office.
Right. So now we have immigrants coming in, and now we have fentanyl coming in, and we have terrorists coming in, and
Human trafficking coming in.
And we have all of this coming in through the border, and
Catch and release.
all you hear is crickets. Cricket. Nobody says anything. Everything's beautiful. 300 deaths a day from fentanyl now. Obviously didn't start day one. But as this goes on, if these cartels have another 2 years of this, these guys are looking to make money. So they opened up the floodgates. They went into their regular drugs coming through the border. Now they got fentanyl coming in from China. The whole thing. Now they got human trafficking. Who knows what's coming? That's what we should start thinking about. Okay, the cartels are doing. They're charging these people to come to the border. They're doing human trafficking. They're doing drugs, and a specific drug of fentanyl. On top of that,
On
fuel. What's coming down the pipe next from Mexico through these cartels? Because cartels are running Mexico and our border, our country, the United States of America, is allowing cartels, illegal organizations of Mexico, to operate what's going on in this country.
freely move back and forth, it seems like.
They're getting education, health benefits. They're getting to stay in the Ritz. You know? Human trafficking, people dying, people getting killed, gun battles. I mean, it's a mess. It's scary. And nothing's being said. They stopped the Keystone Pipeline and took all of the permits away to drill oil domestically. They put a $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill through. They did another $1 trillion or whatever it was for COVID relief. They just did the Inflation Reduction Act. People were dying from COVID worse than they were the first year up until recently. The economy went from a 0 interest rate to 8.5.
Went up to
No.
9.1.
No, that was inflation. Went from a non-existent inflation to
9.1 got up to.
9.1. Interest rates are now, every time the Fed meets, they raise it three quarters of a point. Afghanistan withdrawal, Ukraine war, Iran now being a serious player in the world with nuclear weapons on the verge of. North Korea doing whatever they want. China telling us who could go see Taiwan, what we're supposed to be doing, stealing our industry. Now, I can go on and on and on. Can you think of any other things that I missed?
No, I think you hit them all.
There's a few things.
No,
Law enforcement.
They bought our politicians. They're buying up our farms.
They're buying up our farms. We lost the border. We don't have fuel anymore. We have green energy that doesn't exist or work.
Hey, Build Back Better is doing good.
Yeah, Build Back Biden is what it did. All of these things are not working. These are the people. And then what we have in Washington, D.C. on top of that is they have all three branches of government in their pocket. And the one part, judges being threatened because of a ruling that they made. And then they start going on and on about, well, we should get rid of the Electoral College. Now, for you folks that don't know what the Electoral College is, the Founding Fathers understood that there was going to be certain spots in this country that are more populated than others. So in order for everybody to have a fair shake of electing our presidents, you go to the ballots when the president's on the ballot and you vote for your president. And now when you vote for the president, the state legislators appoint people to be delegates, and they're called the Electoral College. You get 2 senators and however many representatives assigned to Washington, D.C., appointed, and they got to go down to D.C. and vote your state, what your state did. So if the people voted Mr. So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so in this state, well, they're supposed to vote that way in. And you get these college electorates, and if the first one of 270 college electors win. So that's how they figure that out. All right. And if you're in Washington, D.C. as an elected official, you're not allowed to be one of them. You can't be on that board. You can't vote them in. Your job is to secure the vote like they did January 6th and say, yes, these votes are right. They were done correctly. So the Democratic Party wants to get rid of the college electorate. And let me show you how this works. Grover Cleveland was the first Southern Democrat elected the president after the Civil War. He won that presidency because he got all the Southern electoral votes in 1885. Well, the North said, well, what are we doing? I think a few states were put in there, whatever it was. Anyway, he did not campaign in the North, just in the South. So he lost the next election. So he learned his lesson. And when he campaigned again 4 years later, he's the only president that got elected, voted out, and elected again. He campaigned in the North and the South. So he got enough electoral college. So that's how the electoral college saves people from this problem.
Gives the smaller states an opportunity to vote for their president.
Right. Everybody has an opportunity. So it's not a straight, because if it was straight, it's just the two coasts then. Right there. You know, you don't have a lot of big states in the middle. Go ahead, Mike.
James Sheedy. All that money being put into the pockets of crooked politicians and the new Green Deal. California is doing great. Mandated costly electric cars by 2035, but can't charge it.
Right.
They might be able to charge the credit
That's
card,
so
but they
true.
can't charge their car.
They've been telling people to turn off their electricity or limit their electricity after 4 o'clock
Yeah, it's enough.
right now. But they want to put another maybe 4 or 5 million cars on the road
Yeah.
to go electric to get off the grid more.
They deserve
How
what they do.
asinine are these people?
So the biggest component to this in recent history was good old Hillary Clinton. Get rid of the electoral vote. This is crazy. How can you win the majority but not win the election? So instead of working hard when she campaigned in 2016, she just stayed in her spots. But she thought she was going to get those Michigan and the Rust Belt. She thought she was going to get Pennsylvania and Florida. She didn't even bother campaigning in those states, and that's why she didn't get the electoral votes. Her husband knew that, and her husband won 43% of the popular vote, but got 68% of the electoral on his first election. So he worked hard. She didn't. Now, I bring this up because this goes into what I was talking about with this. This is why this Article 5 state convention is so dangerous, because there's other people working on the other side. There's a thing called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, known as NPV. So they don't want to have an electoral vote. They're a progressive run group. And they're up to 14 states with a total of 189 electoral college votes. And we think it's more than 14 now. They might be close to 20 right now, because there was a few states that were on the border, like Maryland and stuff like that. So they're working towards 270 electorals, and it would push like an automatic button into Washington, D.C. to get rid of the electoral vote. So if you do an Article 5 state convention, these people are going to be there. And when you open up the Constitution to a state convention, everything is open. So I wanted to tell you about that. But the reason why I did the countdown on everything that's wrong with this country, and if you skip, I know everybody can think about another 1,000 things, that the schools, critical race theory, the teachers' unions are killing these kids with this gender shit and transgender and people getting surgeries done. There's a lot of problems. All in less than 24 months, they brought this country down. There was a founding father, I think it was James Madison. No, John Adams said it's easy to break a country, government down. It's very hard to build it back up. So,
we have to do that
in less than 24 months, they have brought this country from energy independence, worldwide respect. People respected us and feared us. They listened to what we had to say. NATO was paying their fair share. Russia was staying in its borders. China's economy was almost destroyed. It's in a recession right now. It's in very bad trouble. Iran was just about to fall apart. All of these things were happening less than 24 months ago. Less than 24 months ago, this is where we were standing. Less than 24 months later, here we are. These elections are very, very important. This is the beginning to try and take this government back at the ballot. Start doing your job. You are a checking government as a constituent.
You see why our party is so important here? We need to get these tyrants out of office. Every one of them. Republicans, Democrats. We need independents in there that will rule for all the people. Me, you, everybody. So we're just about out of time. You want to give us your last call?
My last call. Again, I want to review. Start going to these campaign events. Specifically, the incumbents. You have to start asking them very hard questions in front of everybody. Do not let them hide anymore. Do not let them just say something and walk away. Make them explain. Number one, what are they going to do to straighten out these secretaries and directors of these bureaucracies? Especially if they don't get enough for a supermajority to override a president veto. They can do stuff. They have the power in Congress to take care of these bureaucracies, these animals that are running this country. They're not running the country anymore. Like we said, there's more than 50% of this government is in bureaucracy. They're outweighing the elected officials now. There is over 1,200 bureaucracies in this country. Nobody even knows the exact number of bureaucracies running this country. Number two, especially to an incumbent, what was the last domestic bill paid? What was the last bill that our government paid?
Can't pay our bills now.
They have not paid a government bill, a domestic bill. How did I think in my lifetime? And they keep passing these spending bills. And they're printing money. So if they're printing money to do what they want, and they're not paying any domestic bills, ask them, why am I being taxed? Why are you taxing me? Why are you taking my money? If everything you want, you put in a 3,000-page bill, spending bill, and print the money for it. And then you don't pay any of it back. Nothing's paid. And I'm being taxed.
That's a lot. We're getting taxed a lot.
Yeah. For you Republicans out there, you may want to start going to these campaign rallies and asking these Republicans, why are they not winning? Ron DeSantis is losing the governor race by 3 points. No, he's winning by 3 points. He's winning by 3 points. This man should be winning by 60 points. 3. He's leading by 3 points. Oz is losing.
Best in the economy right now. I think.
Yeah. Herschel Walker losing. Arizona, Republicans losing. Mitch McConnell, their leader, says that we got bad candidates. He's the bad candidate. He's not leading. Why are you not asking your Republican Party, with the list I just went through of how we've fallen in less than 24 months, how are you not skipping across the finish line? It's a struggle. They're barely going to get the House, and they're probably going to lose the Senate. And they're going to lose governorships to vote. So you don't think losing a governorship is bad? If you continue to go with this Article 5 state convention, who do you think is going to win that? If you have a bunch of Democratic governors and state legislators, you think they're going to put term limits in for you? You think they're going to do anything as far as that Constitution goes for you? No. Listen, folks, Abraham Lincoln fought the Civil War because he described the Democrats of the South as oligarchs. Now, it was a big saying that the South didn't want to get rid of slavery and stuff like this because they were building an aristocrat society. They weren't. Because an aristocratic society, they take money from everybody for themselves, and they make life better for everybody. They want everybody, they've taken it, but they're going to make your life better. Oligarchs take your money
for themselves,
and they don't care about anybody else but them. Do you see what's going on in Washington? We have 535 elected officials that are running this country like an oligarch. And they're answering to the bureaucracies that aren't elected. They're listening to the bureaucracies. The bureaucracies are going into Congress and saying, we need this. Here you go. Why? How is that possible? Listen, it is time for us to do our job. when Great Britain lost the Revolutionary War and they were marching out of Youngstown, they played "The World Upside Down" on their band from the army. Let's make this midterm where these oligarchs that are residing in our Capitol building, running our government, when they're marched out of Washington, D.C., they feel like playing "The World is Upside Down" because they don't know what happened. When did the United States people, when did the idiots that live in the United States wake up and get rid of my job? Let's do it, folks.
Just like that.
That's what you got to worry about. So good luck with it.
It's going to get worse and worse unless we stand up now. So I appreciate all the feedback I received this week on Facebook from what I posted. It was like a less than a 10-minute read and had some very good responses, a couple of negative ones, but we expect that. Like I said, most of them were positive. Again, I appreciate it. Just shows us that there's lots of people like us that are fed up with politics. Lots. One posted get me a little upset, but he's got his right to his opinion, and I think his opinion was wrong.
What did he say?
He said I was only posting in political groups to give viewers to the podcast. That is far from the truth, folks.
We don't even get paid for this podcast.
We do this for fun.
We do this for you guys,
We do
for
this
all
for
of us.
one reason. We are fed up with politics.
They're informing the people.
Right, informing the people. And we know there's millions of people just like us. This is a place where we can meet and have a debate for everyone to talk about what they choose political-wise. If you have something, even if it doesn't relate to politics, you want to bring it up.
Even if you have a subject, maybe it'll get you interested to look into something.
Yeah,
If you know something that we don't, let us know.
that's right.
The old interweb.
I mean, we will always tell you, we're average guys. We'll do the research. You need to do your own research. Find the answers you need.
Yeah, we wanted viewership. Meanwhile, we are so average we couldn't get YouTube to work last week. We got this big
We
giant.
got it this week, though.
Yeah, we got this week. Dennis did. Dennis.
So again, we'll talk about any topic you want to discuss. Anything you want us to research, like this human trafficking that was suggested. It's a great topic to mention. Human trafficking should be on everybody's mind. We love talking to everyone here and on Facebook. Uniting everyone is the only way we get ahead. Join our independent Constitutional Party. And always remember, knowledge is power.
Oh, he's got the mic.
So, Mike, you want to lead us in prayer? We can, God is leading us in ways to win back our country.
I don't think my head's in this.
That's all right, you'll live.
Okay.
It's painful.
1 Peter 1:21, who by him do believe in God, that raised him up from the dead, and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in God. Let's pray. Our faith can't be in things or even other people. They fail us, Lord, as we quickly realize when we put hope in anything that is not internal. You alone, Lord Father, are worthy to bear our hope. When we first gave our lives to Jesus, we understood that we can trust in you, not only for our eternal life, but also for everything earthly thing. Today we put our hope in you for the situations we are in, for the hurts that afflict us, and for each second of our future. We trust in you, Lord Father, that you will raise us up just as you did Jesus. Please, Lord, bless and protect this new party, this podcast, all that work on it, and all that listen to it. Lord, please have mercy on this nation and have our leaders do your will. Please have mercy on us sinners and have us do your will. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right.
I think we all need God in our lives. I know I do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to read the Bible a little bit more. It's a little rough. It's a little rough at times, but I'm getting there. So thanks for listening. Again, remember next Thursday we got that independent candidate running for Tennessee House District number 81, Mr. Sowell. Again, thank you for listening. We'll see you next Thursday. Have a good week.
Good job. All right. I got some questions for you to ask Mr. Sowell.